let's have a little chit chat about exercise. I've been getting a lot of questions about what I do for exercise, how often I exercise. So I thought, let me just make a podcast and we can talk about it together because my relationship with exercise has dramatically changed. It's dramatically shifted. I can say right now with full certainty that I truly believe I have the healthiest relationship with exercise than I've ever had in my entire life right now. And I'm really proud of that because it's taken a lot of work to get here. We've come a long way. So for those of you that are not familiar with my story, it's episode 100 if you're interested in listening to that. But to just give you the general gist of just the exercise portion, I grew up a competitive swimmer. So for those of you that are not familiar with swimming, the typical routine for swimming is 2 hours of practice every single day, Monday through Friday, and then a 3-hour practice on Saturday. And then eventually I got to the point where I was doing 2-a-days, Tuesday, Thursday. So it was roughly, I don't know, like 18 hours of swimming a week. And then you throw in swim meets and you add in dry training, it was a dry something, but essentially it was weights. And you add in all of that, and I was working out a lot. And so I just had the expectation that that's just what exercise looked like. And then I grew up in a very active family. Like I had this girl tell me the other day after she met me, she was like, "You just seem like you have the kind of family that does turkey trots on Thanksgiving." I'm like, yeah, that is my family, right? There's a family that does turkey trots on Thanksgiving, and then there's a family that just like chills and relaxes and enjoys. Neither is better or worse, but I just thought that was really funny. So I grew up in a family that was very, very active. And I'm not saying that there is anything wrong with that. I do not want you to get the wrong idea. I think that for me, it just became something that was normalized in the sense that my idea of exercise was something that you do a lot and you do often. And again, I don't think that that's a bad or a wrong thing. I think that it can become a bad or a wrong thing when the intention behind it becomes a little bit skewed. So that takes us into the next part of my story where when I decided that I wanted to lose weight, and I started working out more on top of my swimming. Yes, I talk about that a lot more in episode 100. But I started working out on top of my swimming and then just got consumed by that because that became my safety net of this is my way to stay in a deficit. This is my way to keep myself safe from calories and create some kind of safety net. And so when I stopped swimming after high school, shit kind of hit the fan because not only was I working out half as much, I was also really struggling with binge eating at the time. And so I would use exercise as a way to compensate for all of my binges, to make up for all of the calories that I was consuming. And so the thought of not working out or taking a rest day was so threatening to me because what if I binged, or what if I had binged the day before? Like, how am I going to make up for that, erase it, take it away, essentially? So it became super, super toxic. Never took rest days. I would go to the gym for hours. I got into this phase of bodybuilding where I thought that maybe that was going to be the answer to like solve all of my food stuff and help me lose weight. And I wanted to be one of those girls that was like so fit, so strong, and did shows and all those things. And still binged. Didn't help me with that at all. But it just became this thing that consumed me. I remember in college, I would go to the gym and I would just go there for hours and just like hop around the cardio machines. I would run and then go on the Stairmaster and then go on the elliptical and then just like do that over and over and over. I remember during finals week one week, I couldn't get to the gym and I was stressing so much about the fact that I hadn't worked out in 2 days. And long story short, my relationship with exercise was not great. It was very, very, very toxic. Now in 2014, when I went to treatment for binge eating, we worked on my exercise a little bit, but not really, because I didn't raise any red flags completely there. I wasn't underweight Everything was working fine. I still had my period, so there were no concerns there. And if I'm being completely honest, I don't think that I fully disclosed everything when it comes to what I was doing with exercise. But anyways, that was that. Then fast forward to 2018, we moved to Jackson Hole. And for those of you that are not familiar with Jackson Hole, this is a place where I'm not talking like everyone exercises a lot. I'm talking like everyone exercises to the extreme level, like mountain bikes, 100 miles, climbs the Tetons, hikes all day long, and that's their Saturday, and then they do it again on Sunday, and then like swim across this lake, and we're hiking over here, and we're running over here, and we're jumping over here, and then skiing and doing all of these incredible things, which there's nothing wrong with. And I loved the part of living there where everyone was like outside doing things. But what happened there is that I would feel so guilty about resting. It became less about calories. I think that there was still a little bit of that then, but it became more about my morality and being good and bad, and they're better than me, and they're, why are they doing this? And now I feel lazy. And so that whole dynamic with my identity kicked in, and that was probably not the best thing ever. And then fun fact, I don't know if you guys know this, but I was actually an Orange Theory coach for a year. So I became a coach at Orange Theory, and I worked there, and then I worked out there on top of having 2 serving jobs where I was on my feet the entire day, and then I would ski or hike or do all of these different things. I mean, I never, ever, ever allowed myself to sit down. I also never really saw it as a problem, and I think that there are people that can live that way and it's not a problem. I think that when it becomes a problem is that when you do take rest or you can't work out and you start feeling anxiety, or your mood dramatically shifts, or you're now feeling stressed, that's a red flag there that's like, whoa, okay, maybe this is something more than just working out. Like maybe there's a deeper thing here. And I found that really coming up for me when I started dating my now husband, because instead of going and working out, we would go hang out together and we would go do things together. And I had this heart to heart with myself where I was like, Ryan, are you really gonna not see him to go, run or walk right now after you just literally were at work on your feet serving for 8 hours? Like, it is so fine for you to not work out today. Like, you can go have fun and hang out with him and do things, because that is the point. Like, you've wanted a relationship for so long. Here's another thing, not to like tangent. I wanted a relationship for so long. My best friend at the time, still my best friend, but my best friend who I moved there with at the time regularly had a boyfriend, and I never did. And I always just had this feeling of like, I just want a relationship so bad. And then I was here and I finally had the relationship, and what was I doing? What was I doing? I was saying, I don't want to hang out with you. I would rather go to the gym instead. Which, again, there's nothing wrong with going to the gym. There is nothing wrong with wanting to work out or staying in your routine. But for me, it wasn't just, this is a part of my routine, like I want to get movement in. This was, I feel guilty, I feel shame, I feel nervous about what we're eating, I feel anxious, I feel like I'm losing progress, like all of these different things that were so much more than me just like wanting to go to the gym to stay healthy and fit and strong. You know what I mean? And I think that's one of those things that we have to have a heart to heart with ourselves about. And I was in denial for so long about. But that was the first little heart to heart that I had of like pushing the boundary. It is so fine if you don't work out right now. It's not that big of a deal. It doesn't have to mean so much. That was like dipping my toes in the water, or something that I share with my clients all the time is that when you are fully gripping to something with control, we sometimes think that the opposite of that when we're working on healing anything is that we have to fully let go, which is so unrealistic. So I always say, let's just start by taking one finger off. What is your one finger off? So for me, the one finger off at that time was, okay, well, when we have plans to go do something and that interferes with me working out, I'm not going to make it a big deal, and I'm going to go live life with him and do things with him and enjoy being here and enjoy being in this relationship that I wanted for so long. And then at the end of 2019, I had to get a surgery, and that surgery had me not able to work out for 2 weeks. And that was the first really long, full period of time that I did absolutely nothing, like didn't even walk. And I think that that was the first thing that showed me that you can take an extended time off of working out and literally nothing happens. Like literally nothing happens. But in my brain, if I took a break from working off, oh my gosh, I was going to gain 1,000,000 pounds. I was going to lose all of my progress. I was going to, go back to the gym and not be able to do anything anymore. Like I catastrophized so much. And so what I got to experience in those 2 weeks is, oh my gosh, 2 weeks off, literally nothing happens. Like literally nothing happened. So that was my second piece of proof. The first piece of proof was I'm taking these little days off with my now husband. Okay, first piece of proof, taking rest, not a big deal. Second piece of proof, I have 2 full weeks of not working out and nothing happened. It's not a big deal. And then 4-5 months after that, COVID happened. And when COVID happened, I lived in Jackson at the time. It was very snowy still. And so I couldn't go outside and walk. Like it was this like gross, it was March, April, right? So it was like this slushy, yucky, just sloppy, awful dark weather. And so I remember like trying to go for walks, but it was miserable. And I remember trying to work out at home, but like I couldn't do it. And so I would say I probably had like a solid month of like having like these really small, maybe like 15-minute workouts here and 10 minutes here, and then again like nothing happened. It wasn't that big of a deal. It didn't mean that much. And so that was my third situation of proof that just reinforced, okay, you can relax when it comes to exercise, and it's really not that big of a deal. Let me just pause here and say that I'm not trying to make the point that you don't need to work out. And I'm not saying that the goal is for you to not work out. Okay? So let me just say that right there. What I'm saying is that the goal becomes you get to choose. And you get to choose when this isn't fueled by fear anymore. The same thing goes for when you are challenging your trigger foods. We're literally talking about that right now in my free live workshop, which, by the way, if you're not signed up for, it's 100% completely free. We are diving deep into building your life beyond binge eating, and we already had the first day, but day 2 and 3 are still happening. There's still time for you to register, and when you register, you'll get access to day 1 replay, which we dove into why food is still so loud in your life, and we just unpacked a lot. You'll also get access to a community where you can join everybody else in the workshop, and we've been chatting about everything. It's been so fun. So if you're not signed up for that, you can get the link right now in the description box below, and you can join us. Okay, so as I was saying, it's just like when we're challenging our trigger foods. When you're challenging your trigger food, the point isn't that now you have to eat this all the time. It is now, because you're not afraid of this food, you get to actually choose. Do I want this or do I not? And it's not fueled by fear. So the same thing goes when we're talking about exercise. It's, do I want to work out or do I not? But now it's coming from a place of grounded intention versus fear and anxiety and shame and all of those like really yucky feelings that don't really necessarily serve us. So after COVID, after I had that 1 month of kind of like funky workouts, that was my third piece of proof of just like, okay, like taking breaks and resting and not having these hour-long, super intense workouts is so fine. Like, it's literally so fine. I can still be strong. I can still be healthy. I can still be fit if I do that. And then when everything started opening back up, I tried to go back to Orange Theory and I literally couldn't. I did one workout and I was like, this is not it for me. Like, I'm just so over this. Like, I'm literally so over this. So there was another gym, coolest gym. I've literally never seen anything else like it since I've been there. It was called Pursue. And it was basically this gym that only did group fitness classes. So they had Pilates, a boot camp, yoga. I can't remember what else they had, but it was amazing because I'm such a group fitness person. I love group fitness, and it was one membership and you get access to all of these different classes, which I've never, ever, ever seen something like that includes Pilates, because Pilates is so expensive. And so I joined that. I never done Pilates before. I tried the boot camp, same thing. I was like, ugh, I'm just so over all this cardio. Like, I really, really am. And then I had a girlfriend that was joining me and she was like, hey, I'm going into the Megaformer. Do you want to come join me? And I was like, okay, but I'm really nervous. I've never done this before. And so I did it and I loved it. I enjoyed it so much and I wanted to go again, and I actually look forward to it. And it was something that showed me that low impact, because I'd never done low impact before. Like, I'm talking, if I did a yoga for my workout for the day, I would make sure that I still did something high intensity that day for it to quote unquote count, because in my brain, yoga didn't count. I also, in my brain, didn't have weightlifting as counting because it didn't burn enough calories in my brain. And so if I was doing like a weight workout, like, it had to be coupled with something that was cardio based so that I made sure that I was burning calories. So that was the first time that I started doing low impact movement, and I didn't do any extra cardio. Like, I just let that be enough. And that was my fourth piece of proof that, okay, you do not have to do these hour-long intense workouts every single day all the time for you to stay strong and healthy and fit. And that was so good for me because I was at a breaking point of just, I don't want to do this anymore. I hate doing these kinds of workouts. I do not enjoy them, but I feel like I have to. Well, not anymore, because now I have proof that I do not have to. And I enjoy this so much more. And so I actually want to go, which is such a great feeling. Okay, so that was 2020. And then after that, I feel like I had these other little moments of trips, getting married, honeymoon, where I just had these instances where workouts weren't perfect or they were non-existent, and it just continued not being a big deal. And then I got pregnant. And in my first trimester of pregnancy, I did not work out one time. I had this vision that when I got pregnant, I was going to be the epitome of health. Green juices and salads and just these amazing, beautiful workouts. And it was so the opposite of that, which is so fine because Charlotte is more than perfect. But literally, yeah, no, didn't work out one time. Second trimester, got back into it. And then third trimester, it was kind of like here and there, whatever I could do. And then after having Charlotte, I really leaned into taking like the full 6 weeks off. The full 6 weeks off. And that was like the final proof. That was the final proof that I needed. That was like, working out can ebb and flow. I can have these phases of being 100% in and 100% out, and it's not that big of a deal. I also do not think about working out as being on track or off track anymore. I think that that is not helpful at all. It just keeps you in this mentality of good and bad and constantly starting over, where if I have a week or 2 weeks of not working out, it's not, okay, let's get back on track. Day one starts tomorrow. Like, that's so much pressure. I'm literally like, let's just go. Let's just go. Let's get back into it. This is not getting back on track. This is just getting back into it. No different than sometimes sleep is great and sometimes it's not great. And I'm never like, let me get back on track with my sleep. I'm like, let me just maybe be more intentional and maybe not scroll TikTok as late, or let me just be a little bit more intentional and maybe read before bed. But it's not like, let's get back on track with sleep. I also think finding something that I really truly do enjoy. And I know that everybody says that, but it really makes such a difference. Like, if you hate this and you can't see yourself doing this 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, why are you doing it? Why are you doing it? Like, the thought of doing an Orange Theory class, like, I know people love that. And if you love that, that's so fine. It's not for me. And so the thought of doing an Orange Theory class 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now, that sounds so terrible and so miserable. But the thought of going for a walk with Jack 15, 20 years from now, or the thought of going to a Pilates class 15, 20 years from now, like that sounds doable. So I think really looking at, can I see myself doing this multiple years from now? So I guess that kind of brings us into, what am I doing now? So now what I do for workouts is I walk my dog Jack in the mornings about 3 times a week, and we'll do a loop. The loop is like 2.8 miles. I think it takes like 45 minutes, 50 minutes or so. I leave at 6. I try to get back by 7. And that's something that I really do enjoy. It's early in the morning. Everything's quiet. It's just me and him. I put on either a fun podcast or I listen to an audiobook that's not self-improvement, just fun. And that's 100% me time. And I really, really love that. Now, when I say I love that, obviously there are days that I don't want to do that. And on days that I don't want to do that, I walk him less. Like, I don't do the full loop, and that's so fine. That's so fine. And I think that everything that I experienced so far has shown me that that is so fine. And so it's not a big deal and it doesn't mean so much. And then on the other 2 days, I do Pilates. I do a reformer Pilates, and I love it. It's so fun. It feels like such a treat because it is so expensive. So going 2 days a week feels special. I meet one of my best friends there. We do it together. It's just, yeah, a really fun thing for me. I do genuinely enjoy it. I did do F45 for a while, and I did love that our F45 closed. I was so sad about that. Our F45 closed, which is why I don't do F45 anymore. There is also a gym by us that I really love going to, and on the weekends, sometimes my husband and I will go because they have daycare as well. So we'll take Charlotte, and that's time that we'll do something together, or I'll just walk and I don't know. I just kind of like hang out. Like, it doesn't feel like I need to get like this serious workout in. So I think for me, the biggest thing that has shifted is just the way that I think about movement. Like, I don't think about it from this place of pressure anymore. I think about it from this place of, what do I want to do and what is going to support me and what actually feels enjoyable to me. And I am so flexible with it. I'm realistic. I have a toddler. Like, I'm already chasing her around a lot. So if I don't get to work out, that is so fine. Or if I got a terrible night's sleep because she didn't sleep that well, I'm totally okay skipping it. And that's what I'm doing for right now. And that doesn't mean that it's set in stone. It might change. I don't know. But for right now, that is what is feeling really, really great and nice to me. So I guess the biggest takeaway is that I will offer you from this is that breaks really don't break you. If anything, they might fuel you. A lot of you who never take breaks, it might be exactly what you need. Movement that lasts, like movement that you're able to stick to and you're able to stay in a routine with, is movement that supports you, not movement that punishes you. If you're coming from a place of punishment, this is not going to last. It's not going to be fun. It's not going to be enjoyable. And then I truly, truly believe gentle consistency takes you way further than rigid forcing. And what I mean by that is the consistency of doing a gentle walk 3 days a week and sticking to that takes you so much further than you starting this major workout routine and doing these super hard workouts for like 2 weeks and then totally dying off. That's how I think about it now. I hope that helped maybe take some pressure off and maybe encouraged you to take a rest, take a break, let yourself play, let yourself have fun, let it not mean so much, and get back to movement and working out, supporting your life instead of taking away from your life.